Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Game, Develop, Repeat. I'm your host, Chris, and in today's episode, I've got a big announcement for you. I've also got a lot of thoughts about failure, about fear of failure, about becoming willing to fail, and about trying new things, new projects, using new programs, new engines, new code bases, whatever it is that you're working on. That moment of why isn't the thing that I want to happen happening? I know exactly what I want this program to do, but none of these buttons are doing the right thing. I don't know what I'm doing. This is confusing. And being willing to embrace that feeling, being willing to have a moment where you go, I'm probably going to make a fool of myself, and this is going to be a little uncomfortable, and this is going to be maybe even a little bit shameful to just be like, oh, that did not go well. We're also going to frame this in terms of chess, because I've got to tie a game into everything that I talk about, and chess is like a perfect tie-in to this. Chess is such a game of failing, of thinking that you're doing great and then suddenly getting checkmated. It is brutal. The swings of that game are crazy. You make one wrong move and you're like, oh, I had the advantage and I threw it away and now I've lost. All right? It's the perfect game for this conversation. Now, what is my big announcement? It is that I have started a Twitch stream. The channel is called Anxious Buddha Games. Anxious Buddha Games, all one word. And I will be streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Anxious Buddha Games. I will put a link in the show notes of the episode. I'll talk a little bit more about how excited I am about this and all this other good stuff later on during my own development check-in. But for now, let's just get going on our game discussion. So what is chess? What genre of game is chess? Well, it depends on who you're talking to. For some people, it is psychological horror. It is a game in which you are slowly beaten into the dirt and ground into dust. You're cowering in the corner. You're doing everything you can to protect your king, but you just can't escape this monstrosity that is slowly chasing your king down, and you're gonna lose, and it's only a matter of time, but you're doing anything you can. For other people, it's basically a real-time shooter where you're playing these like 1-minute blitz games where you're just ripping into your opponent and they're trying to react as quickly as they can, but their brain just doesn't work as quickly as yours, and you're tearing them to shreds. For other people, it's just a puzzle game. You just go in, you just play some puzzles, you figure it out. It is an old game that has lasted for a very long time for a very good reason. It's difficult. It's interesting, and it's easy to track your progress compared to other players, which is fascinating. It makes it a really cool learning environment, and it makes it very exciting to be able to look at your own progression and say, oh, I am learning this. And you can feel it click in your brain too. You start to see patterns. You start to see stuff where you're like, oh, this is that thing. This is that little like combo that people try to pull on me where they get their bishop here and then their knight here and then, oh, checkmate at an unexpected time, right? You start to recognize this stuff. Your opponent does something and you go, oh, I know what he's trying to do. And then maybe you're right. And if you are right, you're a genius. You're a mind reader, and you are the one who will be slowly grinding them into the dust. But then as you're playing the game, it starts to turn around on you, and you're like, oh, wait, they had a plan that I didn't see, and I'm not used to people who play this way having this plan, and oh, God, there goes my king. I've lost yet again. This is chess. And it's also interesting that you can see how your own mental state affects your gameplay, and you can notice how you feel about your gameplay versus how you're actually doing. If you play if you play chess while you're like distracted, it still feels like, yeah, I'm playing chess, and then you're going to lose. You're like, oh, I'm still focusing. I'm still checking all the moves. I can figure out what's what. And then you just miss something completely. You play while you're tired. Same thing happens. But the actual act of playing, you feel like you're doing pretty good. It's great at teaching you about your own perceptions of your skill and how inaccurate they can be. It is maybe one of the best ways to learn that your mind is not good at measuring its own capabilities. It's really good at just crushing your ego, and I love it for that. There's nothing like getting your ego crushed a little bit in a game that can go, hey, you're not as good at this as you think you are, and like, you can get good if you want to, but right now you're not doing it. You're not killing it right now. I know you think you're killing it, but hey, look, you just lost, checkmate, done. Right? That's powerful because it can teach you about yourself. And I hope I'm conveying this point properly, but just to approach it one more time from one more angle, because I think this is maybe the most important point that I want to make in this episode. If you are super, super confident that you have got something absolutely nailed down, you're 100% sure. If you're feeling that way in a chess game, chess will teach you to go, wait, I might be wrong. Chess will teach you to go, no, hold on. That may not be the move. Let me just check and make sure there's no weird corner that somebody's going to fly out of and destroy me from. That is one of the most beautiful parts of this game. It kind of starts to train you into, just because I'm 100% confident doesn't mean I'm right. Just because I'm 100% confident about this does not mean that I've taken everything into account. Now, does that mean that you're going to double check everything? No, you don't have time. If you're playing with a timer, you even if you have like an hour-long timer, you still don't have time. There are too many variables in a game as simple as chess. There are too many variables for you to control. And I say simple, it's not a simple game, but it's simple in comparison to your life, right? It is simple in comparison to everything else going on in life. Chess can be solved. What is going to happen in your future based on what decisions you make today can't be solved. So there's something it has to teach us about anxiety and trying to control the future. And I'm not sure exactly what that lesson is, but I'm interested to keep exploring it. There's so much depth in terms of life lessons from games, and I usually focus on video games. But even within a game as old as chess, and maybe because it's a game that's lasted so long, there is such a profound amount of stuff that you can learn about yourself, about how you are navigating the world, and about the world around you and how you automatically respond to it versus how you respond to it when you pause for half a second. So many things in chess are just don't make the instinctive move. You see a good move, look for a slightly better move. That's something I think Daniel Naroditsky was saying on his channel. He's like, if you see a really good move, wait for a second and look for a better move. Because sometimes that good move is a trap. You make that good move, you're done, right? Oh, you just lost your queen. And the opponent took 2 minutes to make their last turn because they were figuring out how to set up a trap to get your queen. And you took a second instead of 2 seconds, and now your queen is gone because you didn't notice the trap, right? It's stuff like that. It's fascinating. It's deep. It's engaging. And I've gotten so deep into the chess rabbit hole right now. I'm obsessing about this game. It is like the main game that I've been playing. I should be spreading democracy across the universe, playing Helldivers 2, but instead, I'm playing chess. I don't know what's happening, but this is where we're at right now. So in terms of game development, what is it that I've been learning from chess? I think the biggest thing is actually about learning a theory of how to do something, trying to apply it, and then feeling like I got worse at the skill. Like, I've learned a new thing. I've gone, okay, here we go. Let's do this. I should be better at this now. And then going, oh, wait, no, actually, I'm worse. Let's create an example of this using pixel art. Let's say that you learn a little bit about lighting, and then you take this piece of art that you've been working on and you try to throw some lighting on it. And then it looks worse than it did before. Why? And does that mean you shouldn't be working on lighting? To me, it's just telling you, hey, you're not good at using this tool yet. And yes, it made your art look worse, but that doesn't mean you should stop using this tool. It just means you're in the very early stages of learning it. And if you have no idea how to use a hammer, right, you don't know what it's for, and you just start swinging it around and you start damaging stuff, you're going to be like, oh my God, what is this? Hammer is horrific. It's ruining everything. But in reality, you're just not using it to put nails in. And in the same way, you're trying lighting for the first time and you have no idea where the lighting goes. You're just swinging a hammer all over the place. You're just smacking against walls. And it's like, okay, we're going to, from experience, start to learn where to put the lighting. You're going to do this and you're going to go, well, that didn't go well. I'm not going to do that again. So what am I going to do? And you're going to slowly learn this process. Same thing in chess. You try a new thing, it gets punished hard, and you go, okay, maybe not that. Then you might try it from a different angle, and you go, okay, maybe not that. You've learned this theory. You think you're applying it right, but you're not applying it right. And you end up doing some damage. And then you learn how to apply it right by failing repeatedly. Same thing with lighting in art. As you fail repeatedly, you start to go, oh, not quite, not quite, not quite. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll keep doing that while I experiment with the other stuff. And then gradually, you figure out how lighting is supposed to look, right? You start to figure it out. And I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't really know how lighting is supposed to look. Every once in a while, I'll get lucky, right? Every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, that kind of looks like what I wanted it to. But I'm still going through that process for sure. So the overall point here is that the next big step forward, right? The thing where you're like, oh, this is the big thing to learn. This is the thing that's going to move you forward. This is the new language, the new engine, the new skill, the new tool, whatever, is intimidating because it's going to make you worse for a little, or it's going to get in your way for a little bit. And you're going to be like, why am I even learning this? This is so, I could just keep being productive, but you're making a sacrifice. You're making an intentional sacrifice. You're going, okay, I'm going to suck at this for a while. I'm going to be worse because in the long run, I'm going to be better. And that's the good kind of failure. The kind where you're failing because you're learning a new skill, because you're learning a new tool that improves the overall skill. And it's kind of got this weird thing where you learn something new and it looks like your skill is getting worse. I had this happen in chess where my elo was dropping because I was starting to learn to focus on positioning my pieces early on. And so my elo started dropping because I wasn't protecting them right. And then it was like, oh, okay. And then I started learning how to protect them because people were punishing me for placing my pieces in bad spots because I was like, oh, that's a good development spot. Well, now your piece is gone, right? But then you learn. Same thing with game dev. You try the new thing, you go, oh, that looks horrific. Or, oh, there goes that. Well, my code is misbehaving now. And then you figure out what made it misbehave. And then hard-earned lessons like that, they stick with you. When you learn something that way, you're not going to forget it. Granted, it's nice to not have to learn it that way, which is why we do some studying. But then you don't just study the thing. You also do the thing. Don't just study it. Do it. Put it into practice. Figure it out. Get experience with it. Get hands-on. And then don't just do it. Learn from it. Do it and then go, oh, that didn't work. That made things worse. What about it made things worse? What did I do that worked? What did I do that didn't work? Don't just like, I did this thing with my chess where I just kept losing over and over and over and over and over. And like, there were times when I was playing when I was tired. There were times I should not have been playing when I was just playing. I was just binging failure. I was just going, oh, if I keep trying, I'll keep getting better. No, don't just binge failure. If you're failing repeatedly, you're just frustrating yourself, right? Again, largely advice to myself. But this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about chess being a good analogy for game development. It has this way of really, really driving the point home of like, yeah, you learned a new thing. Try it out. See what happens. Oh, you just got punished hard because you didn't set up properly. You learned this new position, but you got one thing wrong, and now you're done. you're toast. Oh, you're going to start with a new opening? Congratulations. The entire game is completely different, and you can't really register that fact because it looks pretty similar to you. But everything's different now, and you got to learn a whole new thing. And if that's the case in chess, which appears simple on the surface, but is like a pretty tightly constrained environment, like think about the number of variables that you're interacting with when you're learning a new skill. So many more variables than in a game of chess. You can't control for everything. You kind of got to go in there and say, yeah, it's going to be messy. I'm going to unexpectedly fail. There's going to be something that just whops me across the head and goes, hey, you screwed up, dude. And here is your punishment. And you got to go, okay, I will not screw that up again. Thank you. Thanks for that. And then you keep going. Speaking of taking big risks and failing at things and all of this good stuff, let's do my development check-in. I did this whole Twitch streaming thing this week. I did 3 different streams, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was extremely fun. I felt well suited to it. You know, it felt like, oh, I get to interact with the community. I get to chat while I'm also doing something else. It's a little bit performative, a little bit of storytelling, and I love getting the opportunity to practice my storytelling and tell interesting things that have happened and relate miscellaneous thoughts to whatever's going on screen. And it's just nice to interact with everybody. It's just a really cool experience. It's also a massive risk. It is also something that is somehow just kind of terrifying. You're performing, you know? It's on level with getting on stage in front of an audience and performing a piece of music. It has that same feeling of like, well, here we go. Except you don't have sheet music in front of you. You're just talking. You're just going and you're going, okay, here we go. I'm going to work on something or play something, and I have a rough plan, and I'm kind of just winging it. That may not be for everybody, but what I found out is that it might be for me. It was very fun. Let me tell you something. The most fun I've ever had in music was when I did some busking. And I've done this a couple different ways. One time, me and my buddy ordered a pizza, made up a song while the guys were making the pizza. They brought it out to us, and we performed the song for them. And they loved it. They were way into it, right? He wanted to record us. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to record us. It's just a thing. We're just doing this thing for fun. That was so much fun. And then I've also just gone and busked on the street once before with my buddy, and we made no money. We didn't even cover gas for the trip. We made no money, all right? But it was so enjoyable. just we had one random person complimenting us, and the joy on her face and the fact that she actually she really enjoyed it, and being able to just be out there performing for whoever and going, whose attention can we grab with this? It's great. It feels so good. And something about Twitch streaming feels a lot like busking. It's kind of got a weird similar vibe. It's like internet busking. And I don't know, I digged it, and I want to lean into it and give it a real shot. So I hope that you give it a shot if it interests you at all. If not, whatever, man. It's okay. It's just something I want to explore, and if it interests you, get after it. I want to address the one element of this, which is that I always feel weird promoting my own stuff, and I mention this only because I think there's, this is an audience of indie developers, and at least one of you probably has this same thing. And I just want to mention, any time that somebody has sent me the work that they've worked on, the game that they've made, I have been psyched. I have been yes, hallelujah. People are working on stuff. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing it with me. I'm excited for you. This is amazing. Keep it going. Heck yeah. And that's them self-promoting. Somebody sends me their stuff. That's self-promotion on some level. right? They're sharing a thing that they've made with somebody else because like it gets it a little visibility, whatever. But they're sharing it to somebody who wants to hear about it. They're sharing it to me because I'm friggin' hyped on it. And I hope you guys know that if you're making something cool, I'm hyped on it. Let me know. I want it. I want it. I want to know about the cool stuff that you are making. And here's the thing about indie advertising that I'm trying to get to, and advertising in general. I think if you are trying to force a product on somebody who does not want the product, then you suck, right? If you're I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a strong statement, but like chill out with that. Like present it to them and say, "Hey, are you interested in this? If so, check it out." But if you're doing this thing where you're like, no, listen, you definitely want this product. It's so great. It's so great. Everybody wants this product. Everybody needs. It's like, let them decide. Let people. This is why advertising gets on my nerves so much sometimes. It's like, you're not letting me say, hey, I'm not at all interested. Stop yelling at me about this. I don't want to hear about it. Like, I think that's a big part of it. Is like, we all hate advertising because we see it. We see like the same 5 ads for things that we have no interest in all the time. It's like, if you're just informing me about something that I'm kind of interested in, like, we're good. Like Steam. I love Steam. Steam's advertising is great because it just goes, hey, you like this game? Maybe you like this? Oh, my bad. Okay. What about this one? Oh, sweet. You've never heard of it before? Check it out. Look at these screenshots, right? Perfect. You sending me a project to check out. That's amazing. That's me going, oh my God, these people are making things. And there's a chance that I had like a little 1% inspiration bump to them. Like maybe I gave you the tiniest little stat boost to keep working or driving forward on a day where you weren't vibing with it, right? Maybe. That is like 90% of why I do this podcast. Just because there's this like, maybe somebody out there just got that little 1% bump that took them from, I don't really want to work on this thing, to, I'm really excited about making this thing, so I'm going to make it. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's like that, and sharing my own stuff. But my own stuff is very secondary to maybe I'm supporting other people creating things. And like me working on my own stuff is also building towards me being able to further support other people creating things. Like I want to be somebody who has been successful enough at making stuff to actually like really support people. At this phase, all I have is ideas. At this phase, I have one game and a bunch of ideas, right? But we're growing. We're moving towards something. And I think that the Twitch stream is part of that movement towards something. And I think that's why I'm excited about it. And that's also why I've had so much trouble recording this episode, because every time I try to communicate that, I have no idea how to. So this is the best that I've done with it so far. Yeah, share your stuff. If you have finished games, I'll play them on the stream, but you're going to get feedback. I've already done that for one person, and I was like, I feel bad giving you slightly critical feedback on stream, but it's happening. I cleared it with him before I did it on stream, for the record. Thank you again to that viewer, or listener, I should say. Okay, that's my check-in. To reiterate where you can find the Twitch stream or like the YouTube highlight stuff, I'm just going to put a link in the show notes, but it's Anxious Buddha Games at Twitch. Same name on the YouTube channel, all one word, both platforms. And I'll be streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. Schedule might change in the future. There you go. Ta-da. Let's move forward. All right. The questions I have for myself this week are quite straightforward. Are there any projects you wish you had the guts to try out? Well, I'm digging into them right now. I'm trying it right now. There's a little bit more stuff that I would like to try. There's a big YouTube video that I want to make that's like, I have a concept for a YouTube video. I haven't started working on that yet. What would actually happen if you failed at them? That one, if I failed at it, it would just be mildly embarrassing on like a social level. And if I really was embarrassed by it, I could take it down or put it on private. So whatever. So I don't know. I guess it'd be fine. And then would you improve through that process? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I don't think I would ever get good at making a like conceptual style YouTube video, like a YouTube video with a concept rather than like a highlight reel. I don't think I would ever get good at doing that unless I try, put it out, and see how people receive it. I think that's the only way to get better at it, which is a little bit horrific, but totally just how it works. So fair enough. Whenever I find the energy to start working on that project, see, there's my excuses. Oh, I don't have the energy for it, but seriously, I got to lock in some of this other stuff first because I'm already hitting this one big project of like starting up the Twitch thing and pulling highlights from it and all that. But once that starts to stabilize, I think I'll probably start working on that larger concept YouTube video. That could be really fun. I think I would just enjoy it too, you know? Like it just seems fun. It's just like, it's fun to make weird stuff. And that is it's a weird idea. I won't go into detail because, you know, I'll just make it eventually. And then the tip for myself this week. And maybe for you, maybe it helps you. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and play a little bit less chess. I think I need to spend a little less time on chess because I have spent a lot of time on chess the past couple weeks. All right, that is everything that I have for you this week. Yeah, it was a lot this week, but that's everything. If you want a little extra stuff, you've got the stream. I already mentioned it. And you've got the YouTube highlight thing, which I've already mentioned as well. Other than that, we are finished here. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Until next time, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. Bye-bye.